Okay, so here I'm going to go through an example of what I'm expecting from you on Excel Project 1. Let me just bring up for a second. Here's the instruction sheet that I provided for you. So in this demonstration, I'm not going to have the instruction sheet open on the screen, but I'm just going to go through all of what's required in this project. So if you have your instructions, if you want to print them out so that you can kind of follow me along, that might be a good idea. All right, so you're going to use this worksheet or spreadsheet. Really, the terms can be used interchangeably. Generally, a worksheet is one spreadsheet, where a spreadsheet might contain a number of worksheets inside of it, but we're only working with one, so we can use those terms interchangeably. And you're going to create a budget. And the budget really, it's going to be a yearly budget. You can make a personal budget, a family budget, a small business budget. It's really up to you what type. Maybe you have something else that you're interested in, and then you could choose that. So you have to have at least 10 budget items, right? Here in column A along the left-hand side. You have to have each month of the year, right, January through December. And you just fill in the dollar amounts. Now, the easiest way to do this is if you're watching the videos, the lecture material, really copying and pasting information will make this project go a lot faster. If you enter $600 here, you can kind of drag along here and it'll copy that value in for you, so you can make your work a lot easier. It's okay if some months have 0 values in them for certain items, because that probably would be typical in a budget. So you need to create a meaningful title for your worksheet, and this title needs to be merged and centered across all of the columns. So you can see mine is merged and centered from column A to column N. You need to bold that, change the font size to 14, and then you want to leave a blank line in here. When you're working on spreadsheets, you want them to look kind of nice and neat and easy to read. So sometimes blank lines can be helpful so that everything's not crammed up next to each other. As far as the column goes, column A should contain, as I said, your budget items. It's also going to contain this monthly total, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. You have to be able to adjust the column width so that none of these items get chopped off at all and move into column B, right? You want to make sure that they all fit in here. You also have to have column headings along the top, right? January through December, and again I'll talk about the totals in a minute. Leave a blank line after the column headings here, right, in this row. Leave this row blank, again, to make it easy to read. Each of these column headings that you see along the top here should be formatted so they have a cell style of heading 1 using a 60% accent, and they should have, you can see it on mine here, there's a thick bottom border under all of these cells. If your numbers get larger, let me just put something in here for a second that's a little bit bigger. You'll see that number symbols appear. That just means that your column width is not big enough to show that value. So again, if you have any values like that, you need to adjust your column widths appropriately, so you shouldn't have anything that looks like this in your finished worksheet. Okay. As far as data, the formatting of all these numbers goes, all right, with these numbers, when you enter them in, they're going to be formatted using accounting number format, which makes them appear with the $sign over here in 2 places after the decimal point. All of the categories here in column A should be left aligned, and all of the headings going across here should be center aligned over each of the columns. So you are going to put some calculations in here. You're going to calculate these yearly totals, and you're going to calculate these individual monthly totals. And you're going to do that using the autosum feature. So it'll do that automatically for you. So you'll use autosum for each of the individual columns, right? And then you'll use autosum for each of the individual rows. Again, spend some time looking at, how to copy things and autofill things, and it'll make it much easier for you to work on this project. Okay, the file should be called Your Last Name Excel Project 1. I want to talk a little bit about file names. If I do a file, I already saved this, so I'm just going to do a save as. And I save this file, it'll save it as an Excel workbook. So I've noted here, because I think there was a little bit of confusion on the last project, but Excel workbooks actually get a file extension on them of XLSX. That's a file extension that gets put out there. So you don't have to type that file extension out here. Excel will actually add that on for you. Okay? So that's what you need to do for this project. And as always, let me know if you have any questions or concerns.